Some say it's all about 1925 and beyond. The podcast. KC 100 year celebration with Pete A. Kennedy and Marlon A. Kennedy.
Welcome to the 1925 and Beyond podcast. My name is Pete Kennedy, one of your hosts. I am here with my co-host, Big Brother Marlon A. Kennedy, and I'm telling you, we have another special guest for you. As you know, our podcast is geared and directed to Kingston College, KC 100 year celebration. And as you know, our goal is to just interview those who are involved or had a journey through Kingston College. But let's talk about my credit because I want to get to this guest. I attended Kingston College years of 1992 through 1995, and I played football. Played Coles 1993, last 1 year, won 1 year, moved on to play Money Cup 1995. That's my credit. I'll turn it over to my big brother, Marlon Kennedy.
Thank you very much, Pete. It's a pleasure to be here. Welcome, everyone. Our guest today is none other than I affectionately known as Major Sirano Kitson, but he will tell you what his other accolades are. Before we get to Sir Kitson, just to let you know that I myself attended Kingston College from 1986 to 1993, represented the school at all levels playing cricket, and then I moved on to serve time in the military. So, our guest today, Sirano Kitson. Sir Kitson, good day and welcome.
Morning, my squaddy. Good to be here with you all.
Glad to have you, Sirano. So
you know my dreams and my hopes for you as a military man. But anyway, let that flow. It
will. Blessings on me from you, sir. So let us start the way we always do with our esteemed guests. So just to tell us your story and your journey, Sirano, and we want to start with your life before KC, where you grew up, your siblings, all of that, family life, and then we moved into it.
Well, as mentioned, my name is Sirano Kitson. I have served the JDF. You have heard from my squaddy that I was Padre of the Jamaica Defence Force for going up to about 20 years. And so that is a part of my profile. However, I grew up in Almontown, which is a community of Don Drummond and Carl Dawkins.
Yeah.
And Marlon and Pete Kennedy. We grew up in Almontown too.
You grew up in Almontown. There we go.
We're on Arnold Road.
Arnold Road. I was on Prince of Wales Street is where it was at. My father had a top road. My father had a bicycle shop up at Dames Road and Arnold Road near the Chinaman shop. Barry Kitson.
Yeah.
And so you had a lot of chaps who would walk by, and most of them were going towards Wilmers. But when it was time to take common entrance, that was the natural selection. However, it so happened that then you had a system in the Ministry of Education called half. So you had those students who could pass full, so you got a full scholarship to go to a school. And they have those who could pass half. And it meant that your parents would have to find the other half to pay to go to school.
Yeah.
It so happened that I got half. And my father said, my mother wasn't here, she was in England, said that, boy, I'm not really have the money to pay the other half. And it was Reverend Canon of St. Matthew's Church who rescued me and got the church so that they're willing to pay the other half. But here's a clincher. They weren't willing to pay for it to me to go to Woolmer's. The other half, I would get it if I went to KC.
What a St. Matthew's Church. St. Matthew's Church.
St. Matthew's
Church.
Sirano, there's a technical term for that. I would not want to wish upon the church.
Well, you see, Canon Beavergon was teaching at KC.
Okay.
And so with the connection, and he talked to Mr. Fortis, the principal.
Yeah.
KC was the only option. So I went to KC along with a whole lot of other chaps from Almontown. We would walk down Arnold Road every morning. Must have been about a dozen of us. I remember the first morning I was going to KC, 1973. I packed every book in a bag that my mother had sent to me from England.
Mm-hmm.
When I came from Dames Road onto Anna Road, all the guys looked at me and said, Kitson, where I go? I said, all of me now go school down the college. He said, the way I carried it. He said, every book you put in the bag. He said, go back. He said, go back. You're not ready. Just take out one book. So that first day of school. When I rushed back and put on the bag and came back, I said, wait, what that you put around your neck? I said, well, you know, it's a tie. I say, so you made us, them say, just wrap it around and swing it. I say, yes. He said, no, man, I know certain things go. And they showed me how to
tie your tie.
Tie my tie.
We lost your footage there.
I am trying to get back. What is it? Yes.
There you go. You're good.
So it was someone who played Manning Cup for KC along with Howard Bell and Sastry.
Mr. Kitson, just yes. For recording purposes, just start with you went back and put down the bag because that's when the video came.
I went back and put down the bag, picked up one book and went out and joined the rest of the crew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they realized and said, Kitson, away around your neck. I said, no, the tie. Then say, what you do? I said, me just flip it around and do it. Then said, no, man, a case you going, you have to have victory.
Yes.
Victory.
Tie with the V.
And so they taught Winston Brown taught me how to tie the victory.
Mm-hmm.
Winston Brown, who played Manning Cup along with Howard Bell and Sastry. Mm-hmm. And I still link up with Sastry to this day because back then when they were playing down at Sabina Park or Upper Stadium, I was a ball boy.
Oh.
You see? So I went to KC. At St. Matthew's Church, I was in the choir. So when I went to KC, I joined the boys' choir. Barry Davis was the choir master. And that was the thing that really had given me a real head start. Because in the choir with Mr. Fortis, we could sing things in Latin and all these kind of languages.
Mm-hmm.
And so you said, Panis Angelicus, and you feel nice. So when you go out a crossroad and you see all the girls coming to Alpha and Centius and things, you start to sing, Panis Angelicus. You sing in a foreign language. You guys don't know those things.
No, sir.
When you got the girl's attraction, then you could go to her ears and then you could recite something from the Bible, Song of Songs, Scripture. You know,
mm-hmm.
Your eyes are like the stars, my darling. Your smile is like the moon, oh my darling. You are sweeter than a sunflower. Oh, when I look at you, my darling, I see the rainbow of the sky. I'll never forget it.
And I must say, look like you don't forget it at all, sir.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
So, you know, I don't know what the youngsters are doing these days, but all I can tell you is that
they're surely not singing in French. That we know.
Latin.
What I can tell you is that it still works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It still works.
Yeah.
So at KC, we had teachers like Mrs. Serrant, tall lady. You don't joke with her, right? Principal over at Melbourne was Mr. Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
And any kind of discipline that Mr. Bruce going to dish out, it was Bruce's cane juice.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. No, remember
I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah,
man.
Because they said there was a man that used to sell cane juice, must be somewhere out of East Kingston or somewhere, named Bruce. But them link the cane juice to the cane in with him and then call it Bruce cane juice.
Yes,
who did tell you that?
Yes,
who did tell you that, Pete?
I think it's Wayne.
I think Wayne Fraser they tell us that. Yeah, man. One of the old boys told about Bruce cane juice. Man.
Yes,
Bruce cane juice. I remember when I was to get cane for something that I had done. I must have been late or what have you. And I knew the morning I was going to see him. So what I do was that I put some books in my pants.
Mm-hmm.
When Bruce draw the cane and he used to draw one and he goes a whop whop and he hear the sound. He say, wait, you pad up. He say, all right. And he pull out the book then. Then him take another cane. And when him go whop, boy, by the third one, I was out of his office.
Run.
Whoa.
Run, man. So that was Bruce's cane juice. Then over there, you had a man who he taught history, and he was also the PE teacher called Mr. Ellis. And Mr. Ellis thought he was the fittest of the fittest until in the training and thing of football. I believe that one day you had a guy who named Headlam who went to champs. Him and Headland clash, and Headland accidentally bucked him and he went down. But I don't think he came on the field again after that. You know? But those were the things that happened. When we were from Melbourne, by the way, when you were at Melbourne, you know, you dare not doubt North Street, you know.
That's right.
You see? Right? Because you're a termite. I don't know if you have heard that phrase.
No.
Back then, yeah, man, you call you termite because you're at Melbourne termite. But when you leave Melbourne now, you graduate.
Yes.
You're big.
Yes.
Big
yes,
wide
man.
side.
Yeah, you go over North Street. But when I reached North Street, I had the guys from Allman Town who said, no, listen, Kitson, we give the list for the buy lunch, you know. So they would give me a list of what they want at the canteen. But guess what? They not give me no money.
Yes, me see them store there.
Yeah,
man. And them expect change too.
Yes, man. I want to know. Them things are not no.
Yeah, man. You know get the money have to bring back them change and them food.
Yeah, man. You go buy cocoa bread and a patty and box juice and thing, and you make sense. You get the man them back them change. No wrong with them, man. Oh, man, those were school days.
Yeah, them thing, them man.
Also, back then you had Cambridge O levels and then you had A levels. At Cambridge O levels in fourth form, which is now grade 10, you were allowed to do 4 subjects: English language, English literature, history, and math. If you passed math, you went on to grade 11 fifth form. Odd maths. Odd maths was a maths for you to do back then. And so a number of us would do odd maths in fifth form, having passed maths at that level. Right?
Hold on again, Mr. Sirano.
Lost it again there, Sirano.
I think when your phone ring and you try to
yeah.
That's fine, man. We're recording, so you can
just
stop and we'll just continue. That's fine. We'll edit it.
Let me see. Let me see. I should be out of this.
There you go.
Right, I'm back.
Right.
Yes,
so continue from the math part. Yep.
Yes, the math. You had English language, English literature, history, and math. I don't know if you have heard that from anybody else. Now, you also had the opportunity that if you wanted to repeat doing the subjects to get a better grade, you could do it when you went on to fifth form, grade 11. At KC at that time, in the English department, the head of it was one Mrs. Reed, very short lady. But you also had another Reed, a very tall Reed, the tall lady. So we call them the Reeds, the tall and the short. In fifth form at Casey's that time, you had some guys who were badder than the baddest. You had that 2 guys who, when you talk about Kingston, them are the man will let off things, blow. But when them come at Casey, they were as humble as a lamb. They gave no trouble. There was full respect for the teachers. You see the fifth form block, that building that faced the front of the school, upstairs was a fifth form block. The whole length of it was fifth form from 5A, 5B, 5C go down. When any of the reads come at the top of the stairs, along with the one lady named Baxter, who taught maths, a tall, strapping lady, everybody scatter. Man scatter and reach classroom. You see? I remember an incident when them reach the top of the stairs and man scatter. And we are waiting for them come and nobody no come. So when we look out, guess what happened? They're waiting for a student to come for the bag of books that they had marked.
Okay.
The man have to rush out and get the book and him come back. And they walk into the classroom. Good morning, students. Good morning, Miss Baxter. Or good morning, Mrs. Reed. You don't sit down after that in a bus. The teacher said, good morning, student. The student answer, good morning, Miss Baxter, Mrs. Reed.
Mm-hmm.
You remain standing, sir. And then the teacher say, you may sit.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me, I tell you?
Discipline.
Discipline,
Mm-hmm.
respect. And when you sit down, make no noise or do nothing unless the teacher call upon you. Right? I am
No,
chairman.
I must say that's similar today. It is similar today because I was there on Monday. The only thing is they're talking a little bit more. But when I walked in, all the students stood, right? I had to tell them, guys, it's okay, you can sit. So, they stood up and they said, good morning, sir. But the moment you start talking, they all start talking. So I experienced that this Monday and it felt good. It felt good and the respect I could see it. They're trying.
The respect, man, the respect for the teachers of the school, I'm telling you. I should mention that Miss Douglas came to KCU when I was in first form, taught me French.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and she had the whole school at Melbourne in rapt attention. Everybody wanted to sit at the front of the class. Well, my desk was right under the teacher's desk. Right? And everybody wanted the teacher's attention. And so those guys some of them were doing Spanish, they wanted to switch to French.
We said that almost every man who do Casey had the Spanish doing doggy time wanted to do the French, and I am one of them.
Yeah, man.
I am one of them.
I tell you. Also, in that period, in sports, we rule the rules. Sunlight cricket, we run things. Not to mention Manning Cup, and then you had champs. Oh, goodness gracious me. I'll never ever forget them guys named Beecher Class 2, Bally Reed, Trevor Campbell. Oh, Lord, man. I remember one champs, the last race was a race we had to win. Bally Reed was the one who he had some pull muscle and thing, and him tell them to wrap it up. And then wrap up the Bally Reed, And Bally Reed, when him bolt, he had to run down a brother and he won the race. Casey won champs that year.
Yeah.
Right? That is a Fortis spirit.
Right?
Yeah.
Me forward, never yield.
Never yield, never man. So I left Casey after that, went on to work.
But before you got to that, because prior to our starting the podcast, you had mentioned about a particular student that the first time they were doing the exams, he got distinctions and how he did matriculated that in sixth form as well. So let us hear that
Definitely.
story.
Well, while I was at Casey, you had a bright student who he was ahead of me, right? His name, Carlos Escofri. Carlos Escofri, at that time, doing O-levels, took all the subjects, the maximum subjects you could take, and he got distinction in every one. Okay? He went on to sixth form. Again, he took all the subjects, biology, chemistry, physics, zoology, and he got distinction in all of them. He went on, studied, qualified as a doctor. I believe he has been a pathologist up at UWI. Bright chap. I don't know if prior to that, any other student in Jamaica doing O-levels had done as good as that. I don't know, but that is something that could be checked out. Could be checked out in terms of. See a lady just come and kiss
That's
me.
all right. That's all right.
That's a KC thing. That's a KC thing.
That's all right. That's all right. We won't edit that part at all.
That your wish.
No, I edit.
No.
It would be good if that could be checked out. But he stands out as a student back then, in the early 70s, who did exceptionally well at KC. We had quality teachers at KC. I say we have quality teachers now. But then our focus was to do the best we could do, right? The focus was to excel. Yes, there was a time for football, time for cricket, time for table tennis, time for all of those extracurricular activities. But when it had to do with academics, man buckle down.
Everybody.
And it had to do with the culture of the teachers that we had then. Okay? Now, you might have man in a them community, them go on with things. I'm not going to deny that. But when they entered, let me say, the portals of the purple and white, them drop it.
Yeah.
They did not take it into the school.
That's
They
true.
never have no incident of nobody that carry knife, and nobody that carry gun, and nobody that carry machete. No.
And Mr. Kitson, you know that my best friend went to KC with me. His name is Kizran Levy. Big up yourself, shot. We were talking last night, and we said the same thing. As much as some of the guys came from Rector and they brought, they did things outside of the community, they respected school. One day, a man from, Rector say he's coming to the school for one of the guys. When him jump the fence, the amount of batter and stone and bat him beat from KC boys. Man, them say, no, not in our school. This not happening in our school. You don't do what I do outside. When we say the man, them go over the fence so fast, man, and that one day, I remember that as case. And now I'll go more another story because that was one of the reasons we didn't actually have a ceremony that year. But we came together as boys and we said, not in our school. We can't do anything outside. But you now come over the fence. In the school, come talk about you come take out a Fortis, man. Not work.
By the way, back then at lunchtime, man would have tried to grab them lunch quick. Because you're going to play what is called bat up and catch. Them say something to play again every day. I don't know about bat up and catch. You see? Is that a different era?
Is that concrete? Time? Is that concrete cricket? That we used to play concrete kick it down at the bottom.
Pete, it might refer to your food.
Oh, you go to the canteen, you get your food, you get your bun and cheese or your box juice, and then you go out on the field to play what is called bat up and catch. So whole heap of man out there, and you have the cricket ball and you bowl it and you try bowl the man, and you can stay out there and bat for as long as you can. Then at the end of the day, you were the man that was respected. He called bat up and catch. I think Viv Richards, when West Indies started to do the T20 whole heap of something and their performance declined, Viv Richards made a statement. He says that playing those limited overs games is bat up and catch. It is not test cricket.
Not good cricket, yeah.
Yeah, So after KC, I went and worked with Mutual Life and was going to Michael. Then after that, I entered the training on the campus, United Theological College of the West Indies, to be trained as a priest in the Anglican Church.
So, before you go any further, Sirano, so what led you down that pathway? Because that is important, because you might not mention it, but, we hear about your time at school, your time before school. What led you to go down that pathway of getting into the church?
Every step of the way, it is St. Matthew's Church, Almontown.
Okay.
St. Matthew's Church, Almontown. St. Matthew's Church, Almontown, having been rescued and given a scholarship to go. And it was a scholarship to go to KC, right? I was always involved in St. Matthew's Church in terms of the choir, in terms of everything. And I just felt a deep sense of call that to being a priest in the church is what I was being called to. Although I was offered by my uncle to study civil engineering at Newark University. I had also gone to then CAS, now UTech, and got accepted to do land surveying. However, God is powerful and strong.
Yes.
And so the pull of the call to the vocation to be a priest was very greater. And so from St. Matthew's Church, where I felt that sense of call and pull, I wrote to the Anglican diocese and got accepted.
Nice.
Spent 4 years at UTC, was ordained and sent to St. Andrew Parish Church halfway tree.
Okay.
At that time, you had a number of persons in the congregation, Pack Church, whose complexion was a little bit lighter than myself. However, that did not intimidate me. I went there, then priest was Father Herman Spence, and spent 3 years there. After that, I went to St. Cyprian's Parish, Highgate, and spent 5 years there. However, before leaving St. Andrew Parish Church in 1973, I got married in 73, in May of 73. And we both, Denise and I, went to Highgate. And I spent 5 years in Highgate. So I know the junction very well because my son Matthew, it was in the May that year when I was watching, it was Tina Turner. And Denise came to me and she said, look here. I said, what? Water burst. She said, we have to reach Kingston. And I jumped up, and in 2 seconds, I was in the car flying out of Highgate. As a matter of fact, we were able to reach Nuttall Hospital before her parents got there from Mona Heights.
So you drove past Huey. You drove past.
Fly everything, straighten up every corner.
And drove medical, so everybody
every corner straight. Okay. Once I hear she make a sound, I just lick a gear. Because I don't want a baby born in the car because I don't know if we deliver baby. So Matthew was born, the first one. I came back to Kingston because there was an offer to be of the chaplaincy of Upper Camp. And so I went and I got interviewed by General Niche, it was. And I also met then a Colonel Barnes. And a Colonel Ogilvy. Ken Barnes.
Yeah, John Barnes' father, Pete.
John Barnes, a footballer from England's father.
Yeah, his father was a military officer, Yes,
I remember Colonel Barnes look at me and say, well, you look like you could make it here as a Padre. I said, well, sir, I believe that I will be able to serve the JDF in that capacity. So I spent about 20 years as a Padre, the only Padre then. I did not have any help, full-time help. We numbered maybe about 7,000, regular and reserve. And I enjoyed every moment of it as a Padre of the JDF.
And I know that that's quite a long time to spend there, and you'd have gained a lot of experiences there. But what was it like, not only living the military life as a man of the cloth, but having to deal with the issues of trauma and so forth that soldiers and and their families face? Because we know one of the biggest things, for example, Pete, if you don't know, if you have a family member serving in the JDF and you haven't heard from that family member, and when you look at your gate, you see the Padre, it's never usually a good sign.
No.
When the Padre turn up at your gate, Pete, that's never usually a good sign. And
it's trouble.
People would see the Padre turn up and just faint and start cry and bawl out because
that's true. That's true.
He is there to along with the commander of the soldier to deliver some bad news, but to provide that spiritual support. So how was that? How was managing all of that and going through that?
My squad, that has been the most difficult part of being Padre of the Jamaica Defence Force. I remember one incident where I had to go. I think the company commander was then one Major Prendergast. Prendergast, and we went to see the mother to tell her the news that her son had died. And
I think I know which one that was. That was the one that got shot in the V150 downtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as we got to the lady and I looked at her, I said, no, something is wrong. And Major Sean Prendergast, I think it's Sean Prendergast his name. He said, Padre, you are the person, not me. Right? And I remember I looked at the lady and I said, are you on blood pressure tablet? She says, yes. I said, have you taken your blood pressure tablet? She says, no. I said, no, you cannot take your blood pressure. I said, then doctor, I give to you. I said, you have to take your blood pressure tablet.
Never prep
I said,
on.
wait is.
Mm-hmm.
And so went, got the blood pressure tablet. She said, then why you insist on me to take blood pressure tablet? Eh? Where you come from them? I said, no man, no man, no man. The doctor say if you take the blood pressure tablet, she must take it. She took the tablet and thing, and she sat down. I said, we have something to say, it is about your son. She said, I'm all right. I said, well, it was in training and thing and on operations and, some incident happened and him never make it. She said, him never make what? I said, no, him, things happen and, him never make it. He's not with us. She said, him not with us. She said, him dead? I said, yes, 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 yes. And one piece of bawling. And that lady subsequently said, the way that she got the news helped her not to get a heart attack.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not to get a heart attack. I remember that incident clearly.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most difficult things. I can tell you that I enjoyed my days at Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with regard, I realized that you had sometimes some young company commanders because the policies that you have to say the company commander when you apply to get married.
Yes.
And so having that skill set in terms of my own training, I went to the headquarters and we got formulated and put in place that everybody getting married must see the Padre.
Yeah.
And then after that, you can see the company commander. If you see the company commander, you see the Padre. So that was a policy decision from the headquarters then.
And it still persists now.
Who is the originator of it? One Padre Major Kitson. I remember an incident where the soldier came and wanted me to the wedding. We had sessions. And I remember saying to the lady, are you certain this is what you want to do? She says, well, we've been in a relationship. I said, but if you've been in a relationship, it don't mean that it was ending marriage.
Right. All right.
She said, but we're in a relationship 2 years now. I said, so in this relationship, have you looked at the things that you like about this soldier? Are there things that you don't like about him? She said, yeah, I know about him and I like about him, but we're willing to try the marriage. I said, marriage is not something you try. Marriage has to do with a committed relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, I'm doing the wedding. If at any time you're not certain that you really want to get married, just let me know. Well, my dear sirs, on the day of the wedding, Garrison Church up Park Camp. The wedding was in the morning. I think it was 9 o'clock. When I turn up at 8:30, me not see nobody. 8:45, me not see nobody. 9 o'clock, me not see nobody.
Groom nor bride?
Neither groom, bride, nor guest.
Yes.
9:30.
Everybody know.
Nobody. It's just me and the music man. Organist, play. So at 10 o'clock, Mr. One soldier come. He said, Padre, why them send me to tell you the news? Mr. One news. He said, why the bride changed her mind, so the groom say him now bother with it. I said, what? He said, yes. And the bride said, tell you, she think about all of the things that you said to her, and she decides, boy, she now will get married to the soldier. I said, hello. Tell her, please, that when she talk to the soldier, not tell him to miss it.
She gonna blame you. She gonna blame you. Once you hear that, are you shall blame?
You see?
Call your name.
But call my name now for the soldier, go have me up and say that I need to talk to the lady why she change her mind to get married to him. You see? So those are just some of the things. I remember there was an incident at Waterhouse. Admiral Brady was the chief of staff, and he wanted eyes on the ground. He said, Padre, go out there and be my eyes. And I went into that community and I got the specifics of what took place in that incident. By that time, the officer who was involved in it, along with members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and you know how we run things, he was being brought before the chief of staff, right? And I remember at the end of it, I went to the headquarters and I said, what is coming out is not the true picture. This officer has acted with integrity. He has followed all the regulation. He complied with everything. Okay? And I think that officer might be either still serving now and he will say it was because of the Padre, why he was, and that time he was a lieutenant. And I think he has made it up now to maybe major lieutenant colonel, or whatever. So the Padre is a key part of the Jamaica Defence Force from the base of it to the pyramid.
Now, Sir Kitson, I have a question from my understanding as I follow the story, right? So, Kingston College, you went on to studies more in the theology world, and then the opportunity come to be the Padre of the JDF.
Yes.
Did you have to do any military training?
Yes.
That's the piece that I missed. Like, did you actually have to go like soldier training,
yes,
and then
man, you had to go to Newcastle and spend time in training with the intake. I don't remember the intake I was trained with. I remember when I went up there, and weapons training was from a corporal named Weathers, who taught me how to take apart the 9mm and put back the 9mm together. Okay, how to sort out your kit, your bed. They gave me something. It was called a midwife. You know what a midwife is? A midwife was a container, and it having different colors: thread, timber, needle, pin. So you better know how to sew. Right? It was called a midwife.
So you're an actual soldier.
Yes.
I just wanted to be clear. I just wanted to, so everybody who's listening like me, because hearing the story, I'm like, wow, this is so awesome. But then to hear the part that you actually went through the training and became a soldier and led them in that way, and I can see how you can relate to them, because that's the piece I'm saying. How do you relate to these men so much if you have
because you have done the training that they have done? When it comes to the gas chamber, I'll never forget that incident. Right, the gas chamber is going where them put in some sort of respiratory mask, but it now work, and then them put in this room, sealed room, and while you're inside here, them bust a canister, right, and the canister is a gas canister, and let me tell you something. From the time them put me in the room, I said something suspicious about them people, you know, right? You had one Captain Price, no Colonel.
Colonel Price.
He was Colonel Price. He was a training officer. Then you had one Lieutenant Lewis, right? No,
Popeye Lewis.
Popeye Lewis.
Yes.
Right? When then Captain Price, who is now Colonel, he may forget it, but the public may then know. It knows me the Padre. Right? They have a white bars on my shoulders and me an officer cadet. I was commissioned in the rank of captain before going to Newcastle. And let me tell you, Captain Price boss the gas canister on the Padre. On the Padre.
Yes, you hear that, Colonel Price?
Pete would all spearing the body up there in that training environment. So that's what happens. So even when you enter, Pete, as a professional in some sort, like what Sirano did,
doctor,
you
whatever.
have to go through lawyer, doctor, nurse, engineer. You have to go through military training. So you have an understanding of what the regular soldier goes through. And you can appreciate it. So some persons were fortunate not to get gas, but the Padre Sirano went there when that training go on. You're not gonna miss it. But yes. But it's but to go on though, just to let the public know, it serves a purpose, because it's the same gas that you use when you for crowd control situations. And what you want is that if that gas is used and the soldier is exposed to it, he does not run away. He needs to stand, because it's meant to disperse the riots, the crowd, the unruly people. But the soldier needs to stand, because you cannot disperse that and the soldier run at the people them around, or the soldier run at the people them stand up. The soldier must stand. So as much as it burns the back of your throat and your eyes run water, you're meant to stand there and take it. So that's the purpose of it.
Sir, when the thing hit me, a matter of fact, there was an engineer who was with us, and the nurse Shirley Tomlinson.
Yes.
When it hit them run.
Mhm.
And the more you run and sweat, the worse it is.
It burns.
It burn you.
Get in your pores.
So I stay inside there and hold my breath and thing. And after a while, I came out. And I remember I came out and I looked at then Captain Price. I say it again now, Colonel Price. And I said, you know, sir, I'm going to pray for you. I said, I will pray for you, no, sir. I'm going to pray for you.
Wicked.
I didn't know, no, sir. I didn't say it was wicked. All I did was to look at him and say, I'm going to pray for you. And then I added, I said, the Lord Jesus, whom I serve, say, I must forgive. I'm not saying you are my enemy, but I'm saying that the Lord said, I will forgive. So I'll pray for you. Okay? After the assault course was something else, sir.
Yeah.
Right? You have the assault course. Right? And the assault course back then, I know about now, it was an easy course to go, right? And when I had to face the assault course, I made the sign of the cross, right? And I said, if anything happened to me, never put all on before the Lord, right? I remember then Captain Price, are you threatening us? I said, no, sir, I'm not threatening anyway, right? I am a member of the Lord's army, so me try this.
Yes.
Never forget it. As I said before, the assault course then was not an easy something. I don't know what it is like now. I don't know if it is still being done, but that bill you. That's all I'm going to say.
It does.
Right?
It does.
It bill you. And I want to say that if the Padre then could be put through the assault course, I don't know why nobody can.
Everybody has got through.
Yes,
right.
Padre. Yes, sir.
The other thing is that they took us out to one night, full kit to Catherine's Peak. Full kit. I'll never forget that thing. Right? And then at the darkness of the night, about 11 o'clock, you cannot see from your nose to your mouth, and that's a short distance. All right? I when I got back to Newcastle and I went to my bunk, I laid down and I said, Lord, what have I got myself into? Right? Because for you to have full kit, your naps up on your back, full kit. You have your back then we had a rifle called the SLR. Never have no M60. There was the SLR. The SLR, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, was a British rifle. I think it came out of, I think.
Yeah.
Self-loading rifle. And then now you had another rifle that was used on certain occasions called the GPMG, right? That was a serious piece of weapon with a different kind of bullet to
7.62
precisely
caliber.
serious thing. And when I went on the range, right, the RSM for 2GR was one RSM called Bugger Martin.
Trevor Martin.
I went on the race, yes, and he put me through the motion and he said, all right, Padre, come, hold rifle now, shut up. And when I held it and I go so, bum, 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 he said, wait, Padre, you're gone, man. I said, no. He said, then what the grouping? You're grouping and thing. He said, no, man, no, man. He said, listen, Padre, you should go out the road. I said, no, sir, no RSM. And to this day, I still have that which was signed by RSM 001 Trevor Martin. Yes. So, you see, when you have had the training, the soldiers accept you that you're a part of them. You have been through the same thing that they have been through. So you're not talking to them as an alien or a stranger, right? Worse, the Padre is the person who understands the soldier's issues. The soldier can relate to him. The soldier can, and the Padre is under no compunction to share that with anybody. Right? The Padre is a soldier's key man, because when that soldier come to him, or even a young officer, second lieutenant, who can command a serious pressure by the company commander, okay? The Padre is a person who can help him. And once some time he can't get it, Padre can negotiate for him, right? All I can say is that was then. I don't know what it is like now.
So
because the Padre is on the headquarters staff.
Mhm.
He relates to the headquarters staff and more so to the Chief of Defense Staff.
Mhm. So having served those 20 odd fulfilling years in the military, what was the next step after the JDF?
The next step after JDF is that the Anglican Church felt that they needed leadership
Mm-hmm.
at the St. Andrew Parish Church.
Mm-hmm.
People at St. Andrew Parish Church was asking for one Father Kitson.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to make the step from the JDF to St. Andrew Parish Church.
Yeah.
As I went to St. Andrew Parish Church to take up leadership, in a couple of weeks, it was said that I want to run the church like the army. But it was just that in sharing and talking with people, I talked in a very distinctive way. So
authoritative.
I would say,
very
no,
clear.
Sir, no, sir, no, sir, no, sir. It is just to speak in a very clear way, in a very distinct way, and in a very accurate way.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the 20 years, I learned that when you give command, it has to be a command that the soldier understands,
Mm-hmm.
because it can cost lives.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
It can cost lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also an officer, but I was never referred to by rank. It was always the Padre.
Padre.
You get rank for your stipend and your salary and those kind of benefits. But nobody call you by rank. People say Padre.
Yeah.
Right? So going to St. Andrew Parish Church, I talk about being accurate. So I said, ladies, when you put the flowers, you can put it to the front of the altar, right? But not the side of the altar, because at the side of the altar, you have the candlesticks. Candlesticks don't work with flowers. So I ask you, ladies, to put the flowers at the front. Now, unfortunately, maybe talking in that manner, I just hear, my squad say it is authoritative. I think that it is being clear, it's being accurate, and it is being direct, so that there is no miscommunication. I learned after a while to modify it. At the end of me saying something, I would say, so please help me and please understand.
Yes, yes.
And I think adding the please, I think kind of modified, softens the things. But I can tell you this, if I had not served the Jamaica Defence Force, I could not cope down at St. Andrew Parish Church. I wouldn't make it. I could not. The discipline that I had, being able to listen to people and their issues, when persons misunderstand you and would like to paint you in a corner, you listen and you don't react. You don't. That is one thing you learn to the JDF. You don't react to anything. I remember when we had Operation, I think it was a hold fast or what have you, when the correctional services had strike and we had to be over at Spanish Town and Death Row, and soldiers them rifle and thing, and the man them use their peel with what have you and chew on them, and them still never react to it. I recall those things. So when people think, I think more and more I am getting into that mode after several years.
Okay.
So I can mention that on the journey, I mentioned about my son who was born when I was in Highgate. He was sent to KC.
Okay.
Second one, Timothy, they had passed for a school up at Hope Road or Willow Road that is blue and white, but I transferred them to KC. So they both went to KC. My brother, who when he got through with common entrance that time, Garth Kitson, I sent him to KC. So
I know Garth. I've seen Garth in Almantown as well, because Garth.
Yes.
Garth in and I believe he moved on to work with, I think, like Guardsman and those companies and so forth. And,
yes,
yeah, man. And I've seen him at the same establishment that we cut our here.
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't know he was your brother.
He is my brother. He wants to tell
Yes.
people that he's the older one, but I'm not so go, not no go so.
Nothing can go
Right?
so.
Right? He is not the older one. I am the older one, not him.
Uh-huh.
You see? So at halfway tree, I had the opportunity to relate with people from every walk of life.
Yes. Yeah.
And the challenges of having a massive piece of budget and being able to finance a budget still remains challenges at there. When the pandemic hit, we went online and we remain online every Sunday at 8 o'clock. You can go YouTube, Facebook, St. Andrew
Mm-hmm.
Parish Church. We remain a very dynamic church with dynamic worship.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, some people would say we are the flagship of the Anglican Church in Jamaica. We are a church of we're not necessarily a happy clappy church, but we are a very dynamic church.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my daughter Rachel saying that when she was young, she
Who
said,
unfortunately didn't go to KC.
"Oh no, she went to a school on halfway tree road, St. Andrew, the school of her mother and her aunties."
Okay. Keep it in the
And
lineage.
there's one thing with Anglican Church: it keep you fit.
Uh-huh.
In other words, you sit down and stand up a lot.
Yes.
You may not be clapping your hands all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but you're going to stand up and sit down a lot when you come to our worship.
Nice.
The interesting thing about it is that we have a number of outreach projects of that church
Mm-hmm.
that relates to whether it is we have a boys care center, we have a home for girls who are come to us through the courts, girls who are abused physically, sexually, emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
We have a home for the aged. We have the St. Andrew settlement. We have Kencott, a center. So it's a very dynamic place. And the challenge we face is leadership and resources.
So let me ask this, because I'm really happy to hear those other activities and that you execute. How many of these started under your leadership? How many were there before? Because this sounds like a
Well,
lot. Mhm.
it's a lot, and I decided that having a lot, you don't mean to add any more, because if you add any more, you face two issues. One, the human resource, and two, the financial resource.
Mhm.
So it is really to sustain what is there. So
Mhm.
we have a Tuesday charity ministry that is to the poor and indigent and destitute, and that's the first Tuesday every month. We still have it. And every first Tuesday at 9 o'clock, you have over 300 of these people that come to
Yeah.
St. Andrew Parish Church,
Yeah.
right? Elderly people, poor, destitute, indigent people. And we feed them, we take their blood pressure, we give them a care package, and it is a ministry that is critical to the witness and ministry of St. Andrew Parish Church.
Mhm.
You know, um,
Did that start with you,
no, it
or
didn't
was there
start with
before?
me. It was there before,
Okay.
but it is very close to my heart.
Mhm.
We also have a service of young people on a third Sunday, and that is when the young people, the young people, young at heart, whether it is 18 to 25 or it is 25 to 45, that is the activity of the young people.
They take the lead.
They take the lead. They do
Okay.
sermon. They do the worship. They have their. It is wonderful, and
Excellent.
that for me is critical because the very nature of the human person is for our spirits to be inspired.
Mhm.
Our spirits have to be inspired so that one, we experience a sense of joy,
Mhm.
a sense of peace, but also we have to have a sense of hope.
That's
Hope is
good.
critical to the human spirit.
Yes.
And if we don't have hope, then we're going to get into a state of despair.
Thank you.
And so, what I say to Casey in the 100th anniversary and to the student is be focused on being your best. Be focused on being your best and trust in the Lord at all times.
Yeah.
Being focused on being your best and trust in the Lord God at all times. and more so the one who taught us the Lord's Prayer. If you can't pray, you feel like they always pray the Lord's Prayer. And that will become your source of inspiration, courage, and strength. Best wishes for the 100th anniversary and the celebrations.
Thank you very much, Sirano.
Wow.
That's really, really good. I'm touched to hear those words. I'm happy to hear the work that you're doing. It's always a pleasure anytime we meet. You still have that vibe and that energy.
Definitely.
And I really truly appreciate.
Definitely.
And you've always had positive words from me, so I really appreciate that.
Yes. And by the way,
I want to wish you.
Good friends.
Thank you.
Despite
I want to wish.
What he did to me at Newcastle.
I want to use the opportunity to wish you all the best to you and your family. We hope to see you again throughout the KC journey, especially through this year of 100 with all the activities that we have as well. And thank you for those very kind words, Sirano. And just for you to repeat, please, your Sunday services, are they still online?
Online, 8 o'clock. YouTube, Facebook, St. Andrew Parish.
Every Sunday?
Every Sunday, 8 o'clock.
Every Sunday, 8 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook, St. Andrew Anglican.
Parish Church. St. Andrew Parish Church, halfway tree.
Thank you very much. So there you go. So thank you. If you can't personally visit Sirano and the members of his congregation, you can also tune in on Sundays for their service. And also bear in mind for all of the outreach programs that they do, you can touch base with Sirano at St. Andrew Parish Anglican Church.
Parish Church.
Thank you very much, Sirano.
Thank you. Blessings to you. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. One more 1925 and Beyond podcast interview, and I'm telling you, go ahead, sir.
As you go, I would like to say this: that some things that I am uncomfortable with, but people do it from time to time. They like to address me. They like what comes before my name. They enjoy introducing me or stating it publicly. Mm-hmm. And it's not something that necessarily sits well with me. So they say, I would like to introduce you to the very Reverend Canon Dr. Major Sirano Kitson. Mm-hmm. And they bask in it. What it tells me is that persons have been supportive of my journey, and I thank them. I thank KINGSTON College, I thank the Jamaica Defence Force, and more so I thank the church, the Anglican Diocese, for all that has been done for me to make me the person that I am. And to God be the glory. Thank you all. God bless you.
Yeah, man.
Wow, there you have it. I don't think this is one of the sessions. I don't think I could close anything after what you've just said. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I would say the great Fortis man. I would say that part I know you have no problem with. The great Fortis brother or fellow Fortis man, Mr. Sirano Kitson. I tell you, man, the more we do these, is the more my cheeks hurt, because to hear the stories, how rich they are and how unique they are, it just tells us that greatness comes out of what we call the purple and white, out of Kingston, Jamaica. But before we go, Sir Kitson, we always got to wrap up our sessions with the greatest motto that lives in the island of school. And you know what it is? It is the Fortis motto. And it goes like this. How we do it, Marlon? Fortis.
Cadere.
Non-Potest.
Non-Potest. The brave may fall, but never yield.
Amen.
Again,
Amen.
Cheers to you.
Thank you.
See you at the next one. Thank you again, Mr. Kitson.
Thank you.
It was awesome.
Okay,
you're welcome.
Take care.